Special connective tissue, which includes special kind of cells with specific functions, more than 8 types of cells which are common for connective tissue. They include the cartilage, bone, blood, and leaf, which we're going to study on them one by one. The first one is cartilage tissue, characterized with its solid intercellular substance from the previous kind of connective tissue we studied with gelatinous or liquid intercellular substance. This tissue with this solid intercellular substance which make it resistant to the pressure and expansion. The intercellular substance have this ability because it contains a different material than others. We call it chondromucin. Intercellular substance also has very thin white fibers in form of bundles. Special type of cell known as chondrocyte. So chondrocyte are special type of cells in cartilage tissue which are found in lacunae. Lacunae are the capsule-like structure which contain maybe 1 or 2 or more cartilage cells which known as chondrocyte. There are different types of cartilage tissue according to abundance or kind of fibers in intercellular substance. The first one is hyaline cartilage with a transparent or homogeneous intercellular substance because of the low abundance of fibers. So why it's transparent or why it is homogeneous? Because there are low abundance of fibers in that cartilage tissue. It can be found in different locations throughout the body, or we can say found in the many locations of body, like the head of long bones and its most abundant kind of cartilage tissue in human body. The second type is white fibrocartilage. It means white fibers found in it, white fibro, high amount of white fibers, and it is hardest type of cartilage tissue found in intervertebral disc between vertebrae. And the last one is elastic cartilage, contain elastic fibers which have ability to expand and they are flexible, found in the ear pinna. In that picture we show the cartilage of the larynx, which is hyaline cartilage, which are homogeneous intercellular substance, and lacunae capsule structure which contain the chondrocytes, and membrane of cartilage tissue which known as perichondrium. We now have to draw this picture, but we need to know that names and their locations. The second kind of special connective tissue is bone tissue. It is to represent the hardest connective tissue or harder than cartilage tissue because in addition to white fibers, there are calcium salts like calcium phosphate and calcium carbonate in that tissue. This calcium phosphate and carbonate asked before as fill in the blanks question, and one fact or explain the fact or cause question like why it is hardest connective tissue or why it is harder than cartilage tissue, because it contains calcium salts in addition to white fibers. Two types of bone tissue, the compact bone and the spongy bone. But common from these two types, bone tissue contains special kind of cell known as what? Osteocytes. Also they like cartilage tissue cells located in a capsule-like structure called lacunae, and also contain white fibers. That picture is included in exam to draw, and I'll draw it for you myself with explanation. If we study a section of part bone closely of compact bone, the intercellular substance in the bone is the on form of lamella. So lamella, the cells of connected bone tissue, lacunae which contain osteocytes, arranged in circles, but the solid intercellular substance with the tissue make a layer which we call it lamella. So it's bone lamella. Each of that layer maybe has one more layer, one more lamella. And that what we draw there, osteocytes. Some of this bone lamella take the form of peripheral lamella, which peripheral lamella is the first type of lamella on the surface of bone. Other lamella arranged in concentric lamella with around a central canal called Haversian canal. We know bone tissue is a living tissue, so this living tissue needs to be fed by blood, and there are blood vessels like arteries and veins. Blood vessels, and this canal which contains that blood vessels, we call it as Haversian canal, through which the blood vessels and nerves go. The concentric bone lamella are the lamella which full complete circle located around the Haversian canals. So the concentric bone lamella plus the Haversian canal constitute the Haversian system. These two structures, concentric lamella, 1 and 2 and 3 concentric lamella with Haversian canal form what? Haversian system. The Haversian canals are connected to each other by other longitudinal canals known as Volkmann canals. There are also intercellular lamella which fill the spaces between Haversian system and bone peripheral lamella. To show the Volkmann canals, we need to draw two Haversian system. Again, Haversian canal, around Haversian canals, concentric lamella. The Haversian contains blood vessels, the concentric lamella, Haversian canal. This Haversian canal plus concentric lamella, we call them as Haversian system. Closer to this Haversian system, we may draw another one. Similarly, blood vessels, osteocytes, which arranged in form of circles in what? In concentric lamella. I draw the capsule-like structure because osteocyte also found in capsule-like structure. That one we said Haversian canal. So between two Haversian canals, some other lamellar structures also positioned. They are not complete circle. They just fill the spaces between Haversian systems, and this lamella we call them intercellular lamella. Intercellular lamella. And all this bone tissue in a part of body covered by a general lamellar structure, which that time we call them peripheral lamella, which located at the periphery of tissue. They also have what? Osteocytes. So it shows the complete cross section and structure of compact bone without any space, so we call it compact bone. And the last structure, the bone tissue is covered by a thin membrane, as cartilage tissue covered by perichondrium. The membrane which covers the bone tissue is periosteum. Yes, it's the structure of compact bone tissue. We come back to the old slide. There are also intercellular lamella, we said, which fill the spaces between Haversian system and peripheral bone lamella. And that part about spongy bone. The spongy bone tissue is different from compact bone tissue in that the bone lamella in the spongy bone tissue are not arranged as in the compact bone, so there is no lamellar structure. They take the form of irregular trabecula which ramify and meet again, form vacant spaces occupied with the bone marrow. So if like a bone tissue extend, then this lamella separate one from another, and this ramification or branch again meet and separate. During this meeting and separation, the spaces are found between bone tissue, and these spaces give an appearance of sponge the tissue, and so we call it spongy bone tissue. So in this part there are maybe osteocytes, and that part intracellular substance contain osteocyte, thin white fibers, and calcium salts with what? With intercellular space. They take from irregular trabecula. So these irregular trabecular structures mean this formula, and these spaces are filled with bone marrow.